Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the Sherwin-Williams Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Shelly. Shelly will tell you about her company, job openings, and how to apply for those openings. Shelly?
Hi, how are you? Okay, let's get started here. I am Shelly, the store recruiter. I recruit for the part-time positions at Sherwin-Williams, working in our stores. You can go ahead to the next slide. Why do you ask, should you apply to Sherwin-Williams? Well, there are many reasons. I'm kind of biased, but I do believe it's an amazing company to work for. They support our employees, they support the community. We offer different groups like leadership groups for women, for multiculturalism. They do a lot of employee recognition. We offer continuous training throughout your entire career with Sherwin-Williams. There are a lot of advancement opportunities. You can go from anywhere in Sherwin, like retail stores, all the way up to production, manufacturing, industrial coatings, the sales, the marketing, the developing, the distribution, the finance. You can go anywhere in Sherwin in any of those positions. A lot of the people in those positions do start out as these part-time positions in the stores. We also support the community a lot. We do a lot of activities within the community. One big company-wide is the National Paint Week. So during that week, we all go into the community and we offer our assistance and our product to companies like the Boys and Girls Club. And we go in, a couple years ago, we went in and painted their entire gymnasium and activity room for them. And we supply everything, including the labor. All the employees get involved with that. The company also supports everybody through all these different national disasters. They've been amazing through the whole COVID thing. During hurricanes, we've provided so much assistance to families that are affected by those hurricanes. Next slide. Just a few things fun about Sherwin-Williams. Some people don't realize that we're not just paint, that we do all kinds of stuff. We've painted things like airplanes, like Air Force One, buildings and bridges. We've painted the Hollywood sign, the Golden Gate Bridge, the White House. So we're out there, and our name is very well known. We've been around since 1866, and we have been trading on the market for over 150 years. Some fun things to know too that I just learned is we invented the roller brush. We've invented the resealable paint cans. We're also listed in the Fortune magazine and the top 100 best companies to work for. So just some exciting things to know about Sherwin-Williams. Next slide. We have all kinds of positions in the stores area, which is what I am recruiting for. We have sales associates, we have delivery drivers, and what we have associate drivers. Those are positions where you're working in the store as well as doing some delivery as needed. So you kind of run both roles. We do have a lot of full-time positions as well. However, I don't recruit for those specifically, but we do offer full-time type sales associates. We offer summer internships, and we also offer manager training programs. Once you've graduated with a 4-year degree, you can go ahead and join one of our manager training programs and be placed as an assistant manager in one of our stores. If you are interested in that, I can get you information later. But back to our part-time positions. Right now, we are looking for sales associates in Danville, Quincy, Morton. We're looking for drivers in Normal, Peru, and Ottawa. We're looking for sales associates, preferably bilingual, in Springfield and Champaign. But we do have stores that I recruit for all the way from Quincy, Macomb area across the state to Terre Haute, Indiana. We go as high up as Peru, Bradley, Bourbonnais, all the way down to like Effingham, Mattoon. So it's a large area we cover. If there's something that is not open at the moment, you can always go on to our website, which I'll give you at the end, and apply for email messages to be sent to you whenever a position becomes available. So we're constantly opening and closing new positions. So you would get an email letting you know, and you could apply at that time. Some of the requirements that are listed on the screen, we do have age requirements for different positions. Most of our positions require a valid driver's license. There are a few that do not. And the reason we require that is because we do ask you to do driving when you close the store and deliver bank deposits. So you do need to have a driver's license in order to be able to do that. We do require background checks. Our drivers have to take a drug test per the Department of Transportation. It's also very physically demanding in the fact that you have to lift up to 50 pounds. You have to be able to stand, sit, squat, climb ladders, bend. We do have devices to help, like pallet jacks and hand jacks, stuff like that, so that you can move the stuff around. But we do carry a lot of paint from the back to the front and to the customer's car. Our delivery drivers do a lot of that carrying and lifting of the paint as well. Let's see. Most of the hours for our part-time positions are in the evenings and weekends. And those people deal mostly then with our DIY customers, people coming in and wanting to paint a room in their house or have some sort of fun project they're working on. And they usually need guidance on the type of products they want or the materials they need to do their project. You'll recommend different items that you think would be helpful to them. We train you on all of this. You do not have to know anything about paint to get started. Then there's also, if you work some of the daytime hours or earlier afternoons, you will encounter some of our contractors. And with them, you're helping them fill out orders and assist them on their accounts. And then everyone in the store helps with the tinting of the paint and the cleaning of the store, as well as stocking the shelves and unloading the trucks when they arrive. We do offer a 401k program for our part-timers, which I find unusual. I've never seen that in my career. We offer paid vacation and holidays if you work at least 20 hours a week. We offer paid training for everybody in the beginning. And then you get paid training throughout, like I said, your career. We offer employee discounts. We offer referral bonuses. So if you get somebody hired, you get money for that. And then that's just the experience and the opportunity to grow with the company. I do want to mention that we do have a lot of COVID safety precautions in place, and each store has requirements that they need to follow on a daily basis and actually account for those. And we do provide you with a mask that says Sherwin-Williams. Let's see, next slide. This is where you would go if this all sounds interesting to you and you're ready to join our team and let your colors show. You would go to our website and you would, in the search box, if you just put the location of the city that you're looking for, the job listings should show up there. Also, you will find there any of our manager training and internships will be listed in that city as well. And like I said, if you need to set up an alert to get emails when a position is available, if you just scroll down to the bottom and then create a profile, you then can sign up for what type of alerts you'd like to receive. Once you apply, you would be talking then to me. After that, I'd be giving you a phone call. Then you would have an in-store interview with our manager. If an offer was made to you, you would go through our hiring process, which requires the background check, drug test if you're a driver. There will be some paperwork to complete and turn in. And the start date usually starts within 2 weeks. So once you've made up an offer, then about 2 weeks later is when somebody would be able to start. That's all I have for right now. Does anybody have any questions?
Fantastic. Thank you for that presentation, Shelley. And as Shelley just stated, if you do have any questions for her regarding employment with Sherwin-Williams, please feel free to enter those in the chat and we will get those answered for you. Shelley, in the meantime, while we await questions from folks who are on the call, I've got just some few general questions that I'd like to ask you if you have a few moments to answer them. Would you be available to answer some of those questions?
Go ahead.
Shelley? Fantastic. So as far as like the educational piece of things, is there any sort of minimum or standard that an individual would have to possess in order to apply for any of the positions that you covered here today?
For our part-time positions, all we require is a high school diploma or equivalent. For the internships, you do have to be enrolled in a 4-year program. And for our manager training programs, you have to have a 4-year degree.
Fantastic. And I know you briefly covered that you provide a mask for your new employees when they, first come to work. But more specifically, I know kind of a topic that is at the forefront of a lot of folks' minds right now is COVID. How is your organization conducting COVID safety precautions?
They actually have a checklist that they have to follow every morning and turn that into their district managers to be approved. So there's a whole list of cleaning precautions. They have to clean the counters and credit card machines after each customer. We do limit the number of people in the store, which usually isn't too much of an issue. But if there are a lot of people in the store, they will limit that. And like I said, they provide the masks and expect everyone in the store to be wearing the masks.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Shelley. And additionally, a question that I have for you is when folks are, say, not only applying, but let's say, they are called back for an interview, they've reached that interview phase. Are you allowing folks to interview virtually? I know that's a question that I've received quite often as well.
Yes, actually, the first interview with me is on the phone, so it's just a phone interview. The second interview with the store manager is usually in store, but if there is a reason that they cannot be in store, they can be done via phone or virtually, whichever the manager and the candidate decide they works better for them.
Awesome. Thank you for that information, Shelley. Another question that I do have for you is how can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming that they are qualified for the position in which they are applying? Is there anything that you would suggest an applicant highlight on a resume, for instance, or any sort of qualities or experience that you would say they highlight in order to move to that next step?
The number one thing I would say is when you're filling out the application, I know that a lot of people kind of shorten that application compared to what the resume offers. I'll let you know that I look at the resumes, but the majority of our store managers don't take the time to go back and read resumes. They just look at that application. So if they see only 1 or 2 jobs listed and you've actually had a lot of other experience, they won't know that. I do try to share that with them when I talk to them. But that is something that I think applicants should know is that managers pretty much based off of the application. And the reason they don't look at resumes is our store computers don't run that great. And so it takes forever to download them. And they just don't have that kind of time to sit and open all the different resumes. The other thing that I would say is if you are bilingual, please note that because that is something that they are looking for in the stores now. We are trying to become more diverse in what we can offer our customers as far as, especially in our area, Spanish speaking bilingual employees.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Shelley. And additionally, I know you did kind of cover that bulk majority of the positions that you are recruiting for are part-time. But that said, a question that I get often too with a lot of folks during, kind of the circumstances that we're under is, do you offer flex scheduling?
Each store does it differently. So each store provides what they need to complete their store compared to what they have available. So some stores might be very flexible with school, like we do work around a lot of school schedules. But some stores might have rotating schedules. I know that one of our delivery driver positions in Springfield, she does a rotating schedule with her drivers. Some stores have complete set schedules that everybody goes by. Other stores, they adjust for what they need if they have more employees. So there are a lot of different opportunities in your scheduling to make it work for you.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Shelley. And I know you also, had mentioned that you recruit for quite a large kind of geographical region and that new jobs are posted, frequently. Can you kind of elaborate on how often new jobs tend to be posted with your organization?
In my area, I would say I post a new job at least once a week. This week, we've already posted 2, and it's only Wednesday. So once we get into that spring and summer, we might have 20 or 30 jobs open. Our winter months are a little bit slower as far as needing employees, but our summer months, especially spring and summer, the amount of hours we need really goes up because we're super busy during that time. That's when everybody wants to get outside. That's when houses get painted due to the weather. So once that spring and summer hiring hits, which usually is probably around March and April, um, there will be lots of jobs posted. So if it is something you're looking for and we don't have it right now, that would probably be the time frame that something would open up. And then also when you're doing a search, if you put in, say, Champaign, also put in Urbana or Savoy, Decatur, different areas too in the search. It should search within a radius around there, but just to make sure that you're seeing everything that's available, search the different cities around you.
So would you suggest that folks check in then weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? What would you suggest as far as an interval?
If you set up an alert, all you have to do is check your email and you'll get an email when something gets opened. And you can choose all the cities you want to be notified about and all the different positions. So if you're just interested in sales associate or just a driver, you can note that. If you're interested in any of the positions, you can note that. As far as checking in, I would say check once a week and see the areas that larger areas hire more often. So you're going to see something for like Springfield, Champaign, more often than you're going to see like Mantoon and Danville.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shelly. And I just do want to reiterate, if you do have any questions for Shelly regarding employment with Sherwin-Williams, please feel free to enter those into the chat and we'll get those answered for you. Shelly, if folks have any sort of questions for you regarding the application process or the positions that you covered here, or just anything else that they'd like to get answered, what would be the best way of doing so? Would that be getting hold of you? And if so, can you put your contact information into the chat for those folks that are on the call?
Yep, I just put it in there. That would be perfect.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So pivoting back to some of the questions that I have, next questions that I have for you is, are folks paid for the time that they're being trained? I know that's one that comes up frequently as well.
Yes. Starting with your very first day, you do your new hire paperwork and they will show you around the store. On your second or third shift, you should have access then to your training materials and you will be at the store on the computer doing your learning. So you might do 1 or 2 classes on each shift. You might sit, if it's not busy in the store, you might do 4 or 5 of the classes, but there's a whole list of classes to go through. And then every year, Sherwin updates those classes and has certain courses that have to be done yearly. And then we provide you that time. So it's just in the store on the computer doing all of the training and paid.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shelly. Next question that I have for you, since it is very much kind of a public facing or customer service role, is can you describe what the work attire is? And then does your organization provide for any sort of clothing allowances as well?
Yes, we do provide you with the shirts. So you will have a Sherwin shirt and it will have your name on it. It does take a couple of weeks to get those shirts in. So in the meantime, you can wear something that just looks business professional, casual, business casual, I guess is what it's called. Button-up shirts, polos, that kind of thing. Pants should always be like a khaki or a black. And shoes cannot be open-toed. They have to be a closed-toed shoe. Our drivers do have a little bit of a different dress code, and we actually provide the boots for them. So we will order those as well as the shirts, and we order the jackets for them. So like during the winter months, they have a Sherwin jacket to wear over their Sherwin uniform shirt. And again, the pants are just, they're not jeans. So not necessarily a dress pant, but that in-between middle pant, like a pair of khakis.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shelly. And then kind of in the same vein of questioning here, do you have any restrictions on tattoos, hair color, or piercings?
There are restrictions. I do have, if somebody needs to know what those are, I can get them to them individually. I don't have it in front of me, but we do have something called a lookbook. And in there, it will show everything that is allowed and not allowed. There are allowances for some tattoos. They can't be obviously profane. There are allowed in some of the piercings, and that has become a lot more lenient lately than it used to be. Same thing with hair color. And that is something I can address specifically if somebody has a question about it.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Shelly. Another question that I have, and I believe you did briefly cover, background checks and the like. But is there any sort of, in that same vein with the background checks, is there any sort of disqualifying factors that might come into play for somebody who's had, minor misdemeanor offenses or things of that sort?
I honestly have absolutely no idea what they base it on. It is all handled through a third party that does the background checks. And then our loss prevention department is the one that views those background checks. And our HR department is the one that approves or disapproves what is allowed to go through and what's not. So in the end, all I get is yes, you can hire them, or no, you can't. I've asked for those guidelines, and they just are so um, detailed that it's hard for them to give us a specific answer. Somebody that has this and was convicted versus somebody that has this and was not, or was dropped, different things. There's so many different factors that's why they don't share that with us. So we don't pass that information on. So we have hired, yes, with people that have had something on their record. I can't tell you what that is. I don't know. But yes, there are restrictions. I just don't know what they are.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Shelley. And I do have a question here in the chat. This individual asks, are the positions age bias? So I'm assuming.
Absolutely not. We hire anybody from just out of high school all the way up to our retirees who are looking for something to do because they're retired and they don't want to be at home anymore. We have age group, covers the whole gamut in almost every store, I believe.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shelley.
You just have to be physically able.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Shelley. And I just do want to reiterate, if you do have any questions for Shelley regarding employment with Sherwin-Williams, please feel free to enter those into the chat. We'll get those answered for you. In the meantime, Shelley, I do have kind of one more question to ask you before we kind of begin our wrap up for the session here today. Question for you is, what are the opportunities for advancement, and are there any particular success stories that you might highlight based on your own personal experience?
Well, I've been with the company for 5 years. I'm in the office situation, so I'm not in the actual stores, but I have seen over my years all our part-time employees that have moved from that part-time position to a full-time position, to an assistant manager position, to a manager position, to a sales rep position. I do have one manager who did all of that. Well, he didn't get to the sales manager, so he went from part-time to assistant to manager of a store in a year. So in 1 year, he filled all those positions and is still a current store manager with us. But like I said, the majority of anybody that is in our store will tell you they started out with one of the part-time positions in Sherwin or with the manager training program. We do have people that come in with that manager training program that were in school that hadn't worked for us part-time. And those people, I know right now, we just got one that was promoted to VP of sales. And I got that announcement on Monday. So they can climb that ladder, and there's just no end to how far you can go.
Thank you for that, Shelley. And Shelley, before we conclude the session here today, I wanted to give you one final opportunity to include any sort of information that perhaps you feel might have been overlooked, or something that you would just like to cover perhaps a little bit more thoroughly or in depth. I want to give you that opportunity now.
Okay, all I have to say is, if this doesn't interest you, or you don't think it's something you want, or it's not in an area you're looking for, please pass the information on. Word of mouth is our best source of finding candidates. So feel free to share my email with them, share our website with them, send them to our virtual job booth here on this site, and they can listen to this presentation because I do believe he is recording it. And that's pretty much all I think. I think we covered everything pretty well.
And I agree with you 100%, Shelley. So I just, again, want to thank everyone for attending the virtual job fair. You can find the employer booth for Sherwin-Williams, again, on Illinois WorkNet, as Shelley just stated. I have recorded this webinar, and I will be uploading it to the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel virtual job fair playlist later this afternoon. Once it has been uploaded there, I will link it to the Sherwin-Williams employer booth on WorkNet. And again, this can be viewed again at a later date if there's any sort of information that was covered here today that you want to reference at a later date. So again, thank you all who attended. Thank you, Shelly, for your presentation. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.